You might be strong, you train hard and tick all of the recovery boxes, but you still pull up feeling stiff, sore, and it feels like you're just one misstep away from another niggle or worse yet, another injury. I've been working with a lot of hybrid athletes lately, and in this video I want to show you the 3 mistakes that I see hybrid athletes making with mobility, and I want to show you how to build some real resilience that transfers into your sport and helps you avoid injury. The first mistake I see hybrid athletes making with mobility is they have the range, but they don't have the resilience. So you might be able to do things like touch your toes, come into a deep lunge, or even do some of the fancy things you've seen on Instagram, but your body's breaking down where it really matters. You might feel fine in your warm-up and you're doing something that looks like it's ticking the boxes. You've got this mobility routine that looks amazing, but we need to make sure we're resilient in those positions and in those positions where it really matters. And those positions where it matters are usually at our end range. So bottom of a squat or preloading for a jump, or as we're pulling through for a sprint. We need to make sure we're resilient, not just in our mid-range of our movements. We need to make sure that we're very strong at every range that we can access. So the first thing you need to be doing is add some resilience to that end range. This is actually a pretty simple tweak to make. So if you're going to come into something like a 90-90 stretch, we can start to load this isometrically. Loading isometrically means that we're getting as many muscle fibers to load as possible. It's almost like a max rep for this muscle in this position, and we get strong in that position as well. So doing something like just pushing your knee down hard into the ground is one way to do it, or even holding a weight overhead and adding some load into it. You can do this really into any position and start getting strong in all of your end range positions. Most hybrid athletes train in straight lines, and on the surface it looks like it is a straight line sport, right? Pushing sleds, rowing, running, whatever. But in reality, our body's not responding in straight lines as we think. For example, something like running requires a lot of rotation through the pelvis and the torso. So we need to be training things in 3 planes of movement. If we don't, we develop a lack of control in these movements, and we develop these movement blind spots where we're not loading all our muscles in the way that they should be working. So simple fix for this, start training in multiple planes of motion, and we can easily do that within our stretching and our mobility routine. For example, very easily, if we come into something like a lunge, we can start to figure out how that muscle responds eccentrically to 3 planes of motion. So, loading up a stretch in front to back, side to side, and rotationally. And we can also do that through movement as well. And that's important because we want to learn to control these 3 planes of motion through our full range as well. And the third mistake is a big one. You're doing mobility work that doesn't transfer. You're ticking boxes, you're doing things that look good, but if they're not showing up where it matters in your sport, in your training, then it's just a waste of time. We want to be able to draw a direct line to the training you're doing in your mobility routines, into your sport, into your movements, into your injury prevention. And if you can't do that, you really need to make sure to have a strategy for ensuring that your mobility work transfers into your sport and your training. The fix I usually see for this with the athletes I work with is programming backwards. So taking a sport-specific movement and programming that in terms of how fast we need to load and how heavy we need to load in that position, and then looking at what needs to happen in terms to get there. Because mobility is different under different conditions, depending on how much load we add and how much speed we had. So something simple, bottom of a squat position, loading that quickly, adding extra load onto it, and that's gonna be the same for anything like jumping, etc. And you might find that there's going to be positions that work across the board in different stations. So for example, that low squat position is also going to help our jumping and things like that. If any of this struck a chord with you, you're definitely not alone. I don't really see any athletes getting this right at the moment. It's certainly something I think should be common knowledge, and I'm trying to do so through these videos, etc. But it's important to understand that when you start to build usable mobility, mobility that transfers into your sport, everything changes. Your recovery, your capacity to move, your injury prevention, and even your power and explosiveness. And I've seen some amazing results with the hybrid athletes I've been working with lately. And so I've put all that knowledge into a program now. It's the Stretch Yourself Strong Hybrid Edition. I won't babble on about it, but there is a link that you can check it out here. I'd love to see you in that. And please subscribe here. I'm going to be showing some more information around how you can improve that transferable mobility and just stop doing mindless mobility that doesn't do anything. And I'll see you in the next one.